I believe absolutely that the media is just as culpable as we, the public, are for not seeking out as many sources of information as we can, but in bringing us to where we are. It seems that we're awash in information on celebrities and very, very thin on real substantive issues and hard investigative people.
Absolutely. I say that we have come to a place, I mean, this is why we have this program. We have tabloid news has taken the place of real information that helps Americans make important decisions, political decisions about what we're going to do, how we're spending our money. Now, I want to go back to the court cases, because this is something when I met you very, very briefly in May, there was a huge concern to me. And that has been the politicizing of the Justice Department and these court-appointed judges and justices by the Bush administration. What we have is highly, highly partisan judges who are not making decisions based on justice and the true American way, but based on taking care of the Bush administration. They're loyalists. And so I'd like to talk about a couple of the players in your court cases, because I asked you about that, and you turned to me and you said, I want to believe in the American justice system. And one of the goals of my book has been to bring to the Americans for consciousness the fact that our checks and balance system in America has become highly poisoned, and at this point in time is broken. I will say it is broken. And if we continue to have a broken system where there is no balance, we won't have a democracy. This nation will look like Mexico. We'll have the very rich and we'll have the very poor. The middle class will have been dismantled, public education, healthcare. I mean, it just continues. We have huge issues in front of us. And so I want to talk about a couple of the judges who were involved in your case. The first one being David Centil. Yeah, is that how you say his name, Santelli? Do you know who I'm talking about there? What do you know about him? Do you know anything about him other than...
Well, because the case is actually, we have two cases. In our civil suit, the appeal was recently dismissed. That was before a 3-court appellate judge panel. We are now going to ask that it be heard again before the entire en banc, all the judges in the appeals court.
Good for you.
So I'm reluctant to characterize any of the judges because the case is still very active.
Well, then I will, because I'm sorry. This is an outrage, in my personal opinion, because I want to talk about one judge, David Centil, that voted against, letting, on some bogus reason, I mean, not even on the merits of the case, but they find some ridiculous reason to dismiss the case. This was a person who pulled the first investigator off of the Clinton administration and put that dog, he was a pit bull dog, Ken Starr, on the case. And John Bates was a very vocal, negative force about your case more recently. And John Bates was appointed to the bench by George W. Bush in 2001. He was one of Kenneth Starr's players going after Clinton. He was somebody who successfully argued for Hillary Clinton's records when the judges told, when other people said, Patrick Leahy had said, these are the drawers of the White House. You cannot be getting into the immediate drawers. And he successfully argued that no, he could have access to those records and was given access to those records. Now, John Bates becomes a judge and a Republican. The Comptroller of the United States, David Walker, says the American people need to know who Cheney has been speaking with in terms of the energy companies and developing our energy policies. And the administration says, no, they don't. And the case goes to this man who has successfully argued and gotten the records related to Hillary Clinton and her travel in that Travelgate investigation, which rendered nothing. But yet he blocked access to who Dick Cheney was meeting with in terms of the energy companies and how that impacted the formulation of our energy. So that was one case, very partisan, in my opinion. that he blocked access. American people should have a right. And this was a Republican comptroller trying to safeguard some important decisions. And there were 3 other cases. Oh, the other more egregious one was a bill that was signed by George W. Bush that disallowed $2 billion to Medicare. And George W. Bush was told that you've got the wrong version of the bill, Mr. President. You have the wrong version of the bill. And didn't care. He signed it anyway. Congress says you've signed the wrong bill. You were told you were signed the wrong bill. It goes to this John Bates, this judge. John Bates says, doesn't matter. He signed it. It's now law. I mean, it just goes on and on. Your case comes up, and I want you to know that there are many Americans that feel like I do, that there are so few voices willing to take on the rampant corruption and abuse of power that we stand behind you.